Good morning, everyone. Want to do a couple examples of factoring when there is a leading coefficient larger than 1. And I'm going to do that with diamond problems like before, but let's just look at a couple examples. The first one, you have 8x squared minus 56x plus 48. And before you start getting really complicated, you might want to ask yourself if there's a GCF, a greatest common factor. So that's what we did 2 days ago. If I look at all three terms and I think about the number, the biggest number that can be divided into all three of those, so 8, 56, and 48. We could try 8, because we know 8 is divisible by itself, and that'll make this an easier problem. 56 is divisible by 8. I get 7 times 8 is 56, and 6 times 8 is 48. So if I divide 8 out of each of those, I'll put an 8 outside my parentheses. And inside the parentheses is my answer after doing the division. So 8x squared divided by 8 is just x squared. 56 divided by 8 was 7, we said, so we'll put minus 7x. And then 48 divided by 8 is 6, so plus 6. So now what we want to do is factor what's inside the parentheses. Well, to do that, I can make a diamond problem. The top of the diamond is the product. Bottom is the sum. And to factor inside the parentheses, that's like yesterday where you're just factoring with a coefficient equal to 1. So the product is 6. The sum is minus 7. And when I multiply two terms to get 6, but they add to a negative number, two numbers multiplying to a positive number, but adding to a negative means they're both negative numbers. Negative times a negative is a positive, but a negative plus a negative is a negative. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. But when you add negative 2 plus negative 3, you get negative 5, not negative 7. So it can't be 2 and 3. The only other thing it could be is 1 and 6. You could always try that one. So negative 6 times negative 1, if you add those together, you get negative 7. So that works. So in my diamond, and actually now I'm pretty much done because this problem had 1 for the coefficient. So I'm going to leave the 8 there. And then I'm going to use my diamond. X minus 6. Make that more clear. And x minus 1. That's my final answer. So that's what happens if you have a leading coefficient, it's bigger, but when you factor it out, you get something more simple. Okay, second example. On this one, there is not a greatest common factor between 6, 1, and negative 12. So I'm going to jump right to a diamond problem, but this time the diamond is different because we're working with this number out front. Before, the product was always this last number in the, so I just put the 6 there. This time you're going to use the negative 12, but also the 6, and you're going to multiply them together. 6 times 12 is 72, but it's a 6 times a negative 12, so I'm going to put a negative 72. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 72. But I need them to add to give me a positive 1, that number in the middle. So 72, right off the bat, I think of 9 times 8. So I could do positive 9 times negative 8. That'll give me negative 72. Or negative 9 times positive 8. But remember, when you add them together, you need to get a positive 1. So you want to make the larger number be the positive number. So I'm going to do positive 9, negative 8. Now what do I do? Well, I'm I'm gonna use this box here. Once I get my diamond, I'm gonna make a box to fill in. So like the first thing I'm gonna put here, 6x squared, goes in this column, and then my minus 12 goes down here. And then these two have to be my x terms that add together to give me positive x. So that's gonna be from my diamond problem. I'm gonna use 9x and minus 8x. So that was the important thing for the diamond problem, was to be able to fill in this box. Once I fill in the box, I can actually go through and find what I need to do. So 6x squared minus 8x, look for the greatest common factor there, the GCF. Well, they're both divisible by 2, and they're both divisible by x. So I'm gonna put a 2x. And if you go this column, those are both divisible by 3 and x. And that makes sense because 2x times 3x is 6x squared. So I've got those two terms. And then I've got to ask myself, what times 3x gives me 9x? That's going to be 3. And then what times 2x gives me negative 8x? That'll be minus 4. And then we can check this negative 12. Is 3 times negative 4 equal to negative 12? It is. Which means we can write our final answer as 2x plus 3 times 3x minus 4. And then we are done with our factoring problem. So again, if you can get rid of the GCF first, that simplifies it. But if you can't, you still have a number here. Make a diamond, but make the product with the first and last number. Solve the diamond. Those two go in these corners. 6x squared, the first term up here, negative 12, the last term down here. And you're using greatest common factors, this direction and this direction, to find out the answers to your factoring problem. Okay, so that should help you with the third part of that homework assignment. And hope you all have a good day.